the latest edition of Seller's Corner, your go-to source for all things reselling. I'm Erin, I'm on the marketing team at Vendoo, and today I'm here to talk about listing measurements. I am team measurements. I think it is so important to give your prospective buyers all of the information that they need to make a purchase, especially when we're selling second-hand items that are vulnerable to wear and shrinking on a platform that doesn't allow returns. I personally would never spend big money on a piece that I couldn't ensure would fit me. When we're talking about vintage pieces, it becomes all the more important because in vintage brands, as in modern ones, there are differences and sizing is not universal. So in this video, I'll show you how to take proper measurements on a few different types of pieces. Before I do, make sure you like and subscribe to our channel. We publish content every Friday, and it's all about Vendoo product tips, community updates, and how to grow and scale your resale business. So let's take some measurements. I want to start by saying that there's no perfect way to do this. Some people take measurements on different parts, so I just always specify. And I'm going to show you an example of what I mean by this. This here is a top, of course. Some people measure the length of a top from the neck down. I measure from shoulder to hem. So right in my listings, I put shoulder to hem to make it very clear where I'm measuring from. Always make sure that you hold the device super flat. I love these Vendoo retractable measuring devices because they don't become wrinkly and require a lot of manipulation. And we'll make sure it starts at the 0. And here I have a shoulder to hem measurement of approximately 23 inches. And I will also include approximately before each measurement. Next, I will do armpit to armpit, which some people call chest and some people call bust. Whatever you call it, you take it from the very seam. We're always going to capture measurements from the very seam of an item, quite literally where the fabric comes together. I have approximately 21. I've seen some sellers include a ton of measurements, and I will tell you that it's all about preference. The more would probably be the better. I don't necessarily always include a shoulder to shoulder measurement, but I have seen it done. I have also seen a sleeve length from either the shoulder or from the armpit, which we will want to specify. And you might also consider on a top a waist measurement. So to acquire that, we will do a flat waist measurement and either indicate that it is a flat waist, or we will double the numeral that is the flat measurement. And those are my recommendations for tops. Most tops, unless they're formal wear, for me, I just do shoulder to hem and pit to pit. Those are my two measurements that go in every single top listing. Next, we will do a dress. It's very similar to doing a top. For a dress, I will get length and I will specify that it is my shoulder to my hem. Again, I will get a pit to pit measurement right across here from seam to seam. On a dress, I'll also usually get two more. I'll get the waist at the narrowest part because that tells a person the max size, or the smallest size rather. Here at the narrowest, I have a flat measurement of about 15. So this is a 30-inch waist. And I'll also do hips at the widest on a dress from the seam. Unless we have this laid out totally perfectly, it won't just be across. We want to make sure we're getting seam to seam for a perfect measurement that's the most accurate for our buyer. We don't want disappointed buyers. Rather than if they're allowed to make a return or not, we still want them happy. We still want them to come back and shop with us. Here I have a hip measurement of approximately 21 flat. or 42 total. Next we have skirts, which are my favorite to measure because it's two super quick measurements. We have the waist, which again I will either say flat as 12 or I will double it and say it's a 24 waist. And we have a length. Now, I will note that you do have items that are asymmetrical or high-low. When your item has more than one length, I include both. So if this skirt were angled and came down to here, I would say that the length was 15-2 wherever it came. Finally, our bottoms and pants and jeans. If you don't think that measuring is worth the time, please just measure the pants because jeans can be tricky, especially for women. There are 3 to 4 measurements I include for every pair of jeans. The waist, the rise, the inseam, and sometimes the hips, depending on my mood. Starting with waist, it's just like we've done before, at the seam to the seam. This waist is a 12.5 flat or a 25 total. Next is the rise, and it's important to note that when you're measuring the rise, you're not stopping where the fabric stops, but rather in the dead center where all 4 seams meet. So to measure the rise, you start right here at the merging of all 4 seams, and you go right up to the waist. So in this case, the rise is 12 inches, which is high rise. Generally, under 7 inches, we'll call low rise. We'll call 7 to 9 mid-rise, and we'll call anything above high rise, but people all vary in their determinations, so just make sure you have an inch measurement. If I choose to do the hips, I do them similarly to the way that I did them on a dress, which is I go to approximately the widest place where the hips might meet, but hips can be tough because we all have different bodies. I would call the hips flat on these approximately 19 inches. Finally, and very importantly, with pants is the inseam. And this is a major measurement because it determines the length and the fit all in one. To measure the inseam, we're going to lay bottoms flat and we're going to tug a little bit so we can get the pointiest part between the legs. That measurement from between the leg to the bottom of the ankle is the inseam of pants. It can be a little bit tricky to get this measurement because it's not a straight line, but just hold the device as still as you can and do the best that you can. We're always going to include the word approximately because we're not professional tailors or seamstresses and no one is perfect. That is how I measure all different types of items. And that's how I take my measurements. I'm one of those resellers that think they're super important. Other resellers say that they take so much time that it's not necessarily worth it, and they do it upon request. But with my inventory system, I am not getting on a ladder and going into a bin to pull something already packaged to take a measurement. It's unlikely that I'll do that quickly. I would rather have all of the information that the buyer needs right up front and hope that while they're there, they make an instant purchase from me. Do you include measurements in your listings? Let us know below. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you next time, reseller friends. Don't forget your measurements.